Are you looking for some ideas for your February morning basket? You're in luck, because in this video I'm going to share what we have for our February morning basket. Hi, I'm Christy with Homeschooling in Progress. We begin each day with a morning basket in our homeschool. My children that I'm homeschooling currently are in 4th and 6th grades, so this morning basket is geared for upper elementary. And there are some things that we do every single day in our morning basket, and then there are some things that we add weekly to it. So I'm going to go over a lot of those with you. First of all, we start each day with prayer time, which includes a morning offering and a daily rosary. That's how we start every day. Then we move on to a vocabulary word of the day. Now, the book that we use, we've been using for about a year and a half now, and we've really enjoyed it. And that is the Vocabulary Cartoons. This book is so much fun. It has words at the top with their definition, and then they have a link to help the kids jog their memory, and a picture with a caption. And the caption has the vocabulary word and the link in it. So I will cover up the vocabulary word and read the caption to my boys, and then they try to figure out, based on the picture and the caption, what the vocabulary word is. And then after every 10 words, we do a little vocab quiz that's also found in the book. And that way I can see how much they've retained. The quiz has the definitions at the top, and then it has sentences at the bottom where the kids are supposed to be able to fill in the vocabulary word that fits. So my 4th grader, I pretty much just want to see if he can remember the vocabulary words. And then my 6th grader, I also try to see how many words he can put into the sentences to apply that. So that's how we use our vocabulary word of the day. And it just takes a few minutes. So a lot of these things that we do in our morning basket only take a few minutes, especially the things that we do every day. From start to finish, our basket is usually about an hour and a half. So, as you're planning your basket, you can kind of use that for a general guideline. If your kids are younger, obviously, you're not going to want to have it as long. If your kids are older, there may be more things that you can put into it. Okay, so then after our vocab word of the day, we have a saint word of the day, and I have some flashcards that we use, which I don't have in our basket currently, but we use the saint of the day. It has a picture of the saint on the front, and then on the back, it has some information, some fun facts, and then tells a little bit about the story of the saint. And so I'll read the fun facts to the boys and see if they can figure out who the saint is based on those, and then we'll read about the rest of the saint and say who it is. Again, so that's something we do every day. And then after we have that, my basket keeps wanting to fall over. After that, we have our memory work time, and the kids each have a binder that has what they're doing for memory work, which this year we've been working on Catholic prayers. We're almost done with the 20 I had for the year that I wanted them to memorize, but not quite yet. So we're going to continue that on in February. Hopefully by the end of the year, we can kind of move on to some other memory work. But then I give them about 5 minutes a day to kind of study it. And then when they think they know it, they come up to me and say the prayer. And I have a little sheet at the front that has all of the prayers listed with a space next to it, and I can date when they have the prayer memorized, so then they can move on. Then after our memory work time, they've been doing some geography drill. And the geography is something that we were having a little bit of a struggle with this year. And when I did our homeschool mid-year review during our Christmas break, I kind of tried to figure out what we could do to make it work better for our homeschool. And so I decided that we were just going to go back to kind of focusing on being able to map the countries. And so each boy has a map of Europe. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but they have a map of just a blank European countries. And then they started with 3 countries that they used a completed map to fill in, and then the next day they try to fill those in by memory. And then they use the completed map to add 3 more, and they just keep doing that each year. And we are just about done with Europe. I believe one of my sons has just a couple of countries left, and then the other has a few more than that. So we're going to be finishing up Europe in February, and then we'll have to decide what we want to do after that, if we want to move on to another continent or maybe focus on a single country and finding the landmarks and the cities in that country. So some different things that we'll figure out in February, but we're going to start with Europe, or continue in Europe at the beginning of February. So those are things that we do every single day in our morning basket. And then we end each morning basket the same way also. So I'll go ahead and mention that before I move on to our weekly things. We end each morning basket with a read aloud. Now, if you watched my January morning basket video, you heard that we were going to do Adam of the Road. We've been studying medieval history this year, and so I thought it would be a nice tie-in to that as a read aloud. Well, our music that I'm going to mention in a few minutes had musicals this month, and so the first musical was Mary Poppins, and I just happened to have Mary Poppins. And so we ended up reading this book instead in January, so we're just going to move right on to Adam of the Road after that for February. So that is one of the things that I really like about homeschooling. Not only just with our morning baskets, but homeschooling in general. It's so nice to have the flexibility that if you find something else that's going to work better, you can do that and put your other plans on hold. Or like with our geography, if you find something isn't working, you have a chance to, kind of fix it to, to work for your homeschool. So that is one nice little perk. If things don't work out, you're not set in stone with these. Okay, so those are the things that we do every single day. And then we add in another thing, depending on the week. We do kind of tend to go on a weekly basis. With like every Monday we do this thing, and every Tuesday we do this thing, and so on. Some families might do like a loop where they, have music and art and maybe Shakespeare or something in their loop, and then maybe they'll get to a couple of those things each week. Maybe they will only get to one thing each week, but then, they just go to the next thing in line when they have some time. But doing certain things each week works for us. So on Mondays, we do Life of Fred. And we are finally up to the ebook in our series. And so we'll be doing this through the whole month. This book is a living math book, and it's about little 5-year-old named Fred, who is a college math professor, and it talks about just things that go on in his life, and then it has some different math problems with it. So we'll read a chapter each Monday, and then after the chapter, they have your turn to play. And so it'll have some questions based on that day's reading, and after we read the chapter together, then the boys go sit back at their seats, and they will write on some scratch paper the answers to the Your Turn to Play. And so this is just a fun, they absolutely love this book. We've been doing this book for probably a year now, and they really just enjoy it so much. And it's just a nice supplement to our regular math. And it really gets them enjoying math. So, that's a win-win for me. But anyway, so this is just a nice little supplement to our math lessons each week. Then on Tuesdays, we have art, and we've currently been working through a program of art history kids. And so we're just going to go ahead and continue that in February. Forgot to mention Mondays, we also, this isn't with our morning basket, but I kind of count it as morning basket time because it's just kind of enrichment. But on Mondays, we do our music classes also, and those are in the afternoons. And it's a Squilt Live lesson. We're members of that. And they have 2 live lessons a month. And then on the off weeks that we don't have the live lesson, I just keep the continuity with an archived lesson that we have access to. And so I mentioned earlier about the Mary Poppins. January was musicals, which was a lot of fun. And then next month in February, we're going to be doing jazz. So I think the boys will really like that. We've been doing the Squilt Live for a while now, and they really enjoy it. And it's nice to give me a break where I don't have to teach music. So that's what we also do on Mondays. So then we have the art on Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays we kind of continue a little bit of art, and we do a drawing textbook. And this is such a small little book, but it just teaches so much. They have different lessons and pictures. You have 6 objects that you draw each week. And so we just have some folders that have our sheets each week, and we just add to it. And the kids' drawing skills have gotten so good through doing this. So we really enjoy this also. And I do it along with them. So it's a little fun for me too. And then Thursdays, we had been doing composer studies, but we've been doing so much with the art that I've kind of ended up I think next month we're just going to do some art and maybe put the composer on hold for a little while so we can really focus on the art instead. So that'll be a little bit of a change. And then Fridays, we try to, the kids have an actual art class that they go to locally. So some Fridays we don't have a lot of school time, but if we do have some time, then I do try to do poetry if we can. And I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead and start doing some William Shakespeare for February. We covered Shakespeare a couple of years ago, but it's been a little while since we've studied him, so I think we're going to kind of recycle back to that for February. Then we also, I forgot, we do have one thing that we do kind of every day of the week, and that's our nature study. We started doing nature study earlier this year in the afternoons, and we all really loved nature study, but it wasn't working. I thought it'd be great because my youngest was sleeping at that time, and I thought, oh, the school day's over, so we have time to work on it, but it just wasn't working. It felt, we were all tired by the end of the day. And so I thought, well, let's try it in the morning and see how that works. And it has worked great as a part of our morning basket. And so we try to do a nature walk each week, and we try to incorporate some art and literature with our nature study. And I pretty much kind of loosely follow the Exploring Nature with Children curriculum, which has kind of weekly topics throughout the year. And we kind of loosely study that because since my kids are a little older, they can kind of delve more deeply into a subject. So if we find something that really intrigues us, we'll spend a little bit more time on that. And so in February, I'm kind of going to do more. We're going to go off of the curriculum just a little bit and do more of a focus on birds and winter birds and an owl study. And then we will do the evergreen study along with some pine cones that is part of the Exploring Nature with Children curriculum for our nature study. So again, one of the nice things about homeschooling is, you don't have to use each resource exactly as it's meant. You can kind of do what works for your family. So those are the ideas that we have for our February morning basket. You can see below in the description some more information about where to find links to the books that I mention, and just a little bit more information that I write about in my blog. You'll find the link below to that. Thanks for watching. Happy homeschooling.